Okay, holy shit. Today, ladies and gentlemen, my special guest, Kru Alin. I've known Alin since 2009. I met him back on the Oneida Reserve. He's an OG in the game. Everybody knows who he is. If you're anybody in the fight game, he's got the guys Shane Campbell for one, Kyle Nelson, Mukai Maramo, Will Romero, Benabi Otoro. Who else we got there? Adrian Woolley when he was competing. The list goes on. You got a wall of champions.
Yeah, so I always have to be careful because there is so many, and then you forget one, and he's gonna get upset. But yeah, Dennis, Gabriel Varga, Dennis Puri.
That's right. Yeah,
he fought in Japan and in China and everywhere. In Bellator, he had a win. So yeah,
Dennis is one of my favorite fighters. I absolutely love that guy. I love his. He don't give a shit attitude. He's just coming to fight, and he throws with like merciless attack. He's just in it to go out on his shield. And he's so exciting to watch. But let's talk about you for a minute. Let's kind of dive into where it all began for you. So when I first met you, you were running Iron Tiger Muay Thai, which when we were fighting on the reserves, your guys were beating everybody. They were all studs. Everybody that came in there was beating the shit out of everybody. And I remember seeing you and watching you corner, and I was mesmerized by the way how composed you were, because there was a fight happening, and all I remember is this: more pressure, more pressure, more pressure, and it was just whatever you were saying, these guys were doing. So they had so much confidence in you. You could tell that wherever you came from, they were listening. So you act as a coach, as a mentor, as a father figure. You've touched these guys, and you've touched our community really hard, bro. Like, you should be very proud of that. So let's dive into where you started and how it came from. When did you come to Canada, and how did it all begin?
Well, first, I want to thank you for the invitation. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for you and what you do for the sport. There is a lot of people, in this game that talk, and you're one of the people that actually walks. So I want to thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the great things you do for the sport.
I'm honored that you're here.
Before you did the amateur was amazing, and now you are with the professional show, which it's amazing. So every time I'm part of what you do, I'm honored and very happy to do it. So
thank you.
Fighters, when I said it's sensitive because I train so many. So I train also Mark Bochak for his fights with Frankie Edgar. I think he was UFC 75. Claude Patrick, we have a good run before he got to the UFC. I'm saying.
I was forgetting all these beautiful names.
And also I did some stuff with others like Antonio Carvalho, Wagner Fabiano, so many fighters. And but everything started for me in Romania, right? I have to start there because that's where I come from.
Yeah, let's bring it.
So when I come here, I just didn't start it here. So I bring it from there, and I just grew up in Romania. It was communist. 1989, they had a revolution, and unfortunately, the old communists were put down, and some new communists come to take power. So the revolution started in the city I'm born, Timișoara, and some young people, innocent young people, die for freedom. So I'm very familiar with living in an environment where you have no freedom. Communism, it's the worst idea ever. Trust me. So if you hear communism, run. Mm-hmm. The guy that started the all social communist movement, Karl Marx, he was a philosopher, and Engels, they were both philosophers, but I think they tried to figure out a society where everybody's equal, but they forgot the most important thing in that equation, which is the human being. Mm-hmm. The human being, it's very greedy. So once you give one person all the power, becomes a dictator and a tyrant. And that's what happened with communism in East Europe. First in Russia, Trotsky, Lenin, Stalin, they end up killing more of their own people than actually the Nazi did, right? And, so that's where I come from. I come from an environment where you were segregated, where you have no freedom. I grew up like that, right? So, and that makes you tough, man. That makes you tough, you know?
Well, Europeans in general, men have they got beards at 15. They grow up a lot faster. They're stronger. The diet is different. Everything is they're hardened.
So in a capitalist system, you have the projects, right? In a communist system, you had the buildings where I grew up. I remember we live in this building when I was born, and the first things I remember, it was like 4, 5, 6, and man, they used to call them matchboxes. The buildings were built like just concrete, no insulation, and my dad would move the bucket. You hope the rain is not gonna fall on you when you sleep. In the winter, you sleep with a jacket on. It was so cold, and in the summer, you had to it was like a sauna.
Wow.
Right? So, that's what started. That's where I started. And then poverty makes people violent, and I wanted to learn how to defend myself. And,
how old were you when that happened? When you started it, when you got into martial arts?
So my grandfather boxed 11 years, and so my uncles, right? So I was like always want to learn, but I was not in a controlled, organized environment. Did some karate when I was 12, 13, but it was not my thing. I wanted to do the real thing, man. I had so much anger because of the society. And I really want to go in a ring, man, because for me it was the purest thing, believe it or not. Some people look in the beginning at us, what we did, and they call us barbarians, right? For me, it was the most purest thing, the ring. No knives, no guns, no corruption. Of course, you have to win by knockout because the judge and the refs would rob you. That's nothing new, right?
And it still happens till this
That's
day.
nothing new, right? If you were not from the capital city, you would definitely, if you go to a decision, you would lose. So I had to knock people out or be knocked out, and that's how I fought, and that's how I lead my life: to be or not to be, right? But so I was 14. Me and my best friend, we heard about this guy open a Muay Thai kickboxing gym, and we went in, walked in. Side, I was like, man, this is me. This is me. I used to play soccer. I was in the communist system. It's very systematic. When I was 6, I was selected to be part of this program, like an Olympic program, kind of, if you want to call it that way. And so at 6 years old, they bring all the kids from the community, and you run, you walk on a 2x4, and they see your balance. They look at mom and dad to see what kind of genetics you have. And then they like, okay, this is one guy, right? So from thousands, they pick, I think 60, right? So I was one of the 60s. And I started my journey in there. I play sports every day. But I was playing soccer. I was looking for a fight. So my coach thought I'm crazy, right? Right? And when I find the gym, that was it. And the coach, man, the first coach, man, guy was like, I'm like, man, I want to be like this dude. Strong. He was the bodyguard of some former communist leader there. Is strong, educated in Sambo, Thai boxing. And I started training with him. A lot of fighters there, a lot of people, right? And it was the best gym in the country at the time. We produced a lot of champions there. And so first year, just like in any gym, you just get your ass kicked. That's about it, right? Nobody was born. I tell my students when they have the first hard time at the gym, nobody was born knowing how to fight. You know what I see this thing, Jamie? It says that people are actually 4 times worse at fighting than they actually are. That's what they think they are. Right? So dudes that go to the bar and knock the guy out, right? Yeah. Because the guy is drunk and he's drunk and he thinks he's a ninja. He's actually 4 times worse at fighting than he actually thinks he is. Right? So when you go to a control environment and you actually learn how to fight, move your head, and the other guy hits back and knows what he's doing, it takes about a year to walk. First you're crawling in that gym, if it's a real striking gym. And some people, even in this society, right, that people say, oh, Alin is very hard coach, man. Yeah, he's crazy. Oh, he's East European. He must be nuts. But I'm protecting them because this sport is not for everybody, right? So I want them to find out right there, is this for you or not? Because I see it in my life here. Guys that got in a sport just because they want that Facebook picture.
And we call them journeymen, and there's a lot of them.
They were not in for they were not fighters. In this sport, you have to be a fighter. You need to, you know what? When I got in the ring, I enjoyed giving and taking as much, equally. I understand that, every boxer, every fighter, you're going to take some and you're going to give some. That's a given. Muhammad Ali was the greatest. Man, he took a lot. He gave a lot.
Yeah.
But you need to be able to take as much as you give, right? And if you're not comfortable with that, it's not for you. There is a lot of sports there, man. Jiu-jitsu is amazing. You don't have to get hit. You still learn how to defend yourself. But if you want to be a fighter, a ring fighter, a cage fighter, you need to be comfortable and understand that taking it it's going to happen as much as giving it, and has to be part of you. And to be used to, my mom used to think I'm crazy. I go home, I can't walk after the fight. Guy kicked my leg, I didn't block 20 times, I can't walk for a week. My mom is like, what's wrong with my kid? This guy wants to go in the ring. He can be anything. Smart kid, I was good at school. And he's, she'd wonder what's, right? I think the system there, I had so much anger, and that the ring was the perfect spot for me. So I did my journey as a fighter. I went to university, all sports related, physical education, university. I learned more about what I'm doing, what I do, psychologically, physically. I learned a lot about nutrition, biochemistry, which so I learned all that stuff in university, and it was amazing. I enjoy it. I went to the anatomy room with cadavers. That's how you say it? Yeah. So I see the femur and the tibia, how they insert bone to bone, not with plastic bones, with real bones. And I was fascinated. I wanted to learn about that. I wanted to learn about nutrition. And of course, by then I had a lot of fights already. So, even with the fights, I tell my fighters, right? The first time you fight, right? There's so many feelings involved, right? If your girlfriend is there, your parents are watching, so much pressure, first time, right? And you want to win. You never see a fight, I'm going to go in to get my ass. No, everybody want to win, right? So all the pressure the first time, it's the hardest fight, right? If it's a fair fight, right? Two equal men walk in and they both never fought. And the first fight, you want to do everything and you end up doing nothing. 10 fights later, it's not hard, man. 100 fights later, it's like drinking a glass of water. It becomes you, right? So the more you do it, the easier it gets. You're comfortable. And you understand that the most important thing when you fight is to have a clear mind. If you have any feelings, anger, fear, excitement, anything that takes you away from being cool in your head, like Bruce Lee said, it be like water, right? It's going to be a detriment to your performance. So you need to be cool and collected. You have no thoughts, no feelings. I remember when I fought this guy, Yonitsa Adrian, he was my arch enemies. I beat the hell out of him first time, and he really wanted to beat because he was a champ. So second time we fought for 5 rounds, we hit each other so hard. But we go to the change room after and talk. And he says, dude, you hit so hard. So I never hurt you, I said. He says, dude, I didn't know where I'm at. Shit. The poker face. He was so good at it. Me too. Like our experience, he hit me hard. I'm never going to show him that I'm crumbling or no feelings. Same eyes, same face. It's like a poker game,
It's funny you say that, as I remember one time in the backstage of one of the reserve fights. And I remember you talking to one of your guys. He had lost, took a nut shot. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
He got kicked in the nuts. He fell down. The time just kept ticking. And the ref finally just called it off. He said he couldn't continue. And then we went backstage, and you kind of took over the room. You started talking, and you were saying that, having that poker face and never showing emotion, even if you're getting destroyed and you're in pain and you're hurting, no emotion. That's to psychologically get yourself past that, when most guys can't turn that off. They get they show emotion when they get hit, or they'll smile. And, if they smile when he gets hit, you hurt him.
Sure.
But if you're cold face and you were telling it, but everybody was on the edge of their seat looking at you going, wow, this is great advice. So keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no. So yeah, about that, right? It's when you fight there, you have to be as cool and collected as possible. You can't leave. Once you see that I'm wounded,
you smell blood, you go in for the kill.
Sure, you give him wings, right? So that's I don't even know how we got here, but that's one thing that I learned there with the experience. So when I moved to Canada, 2000. I found my last fight there in August. I moved here in September. I come here and I bring all that experience with me.
So why did you choose to leave?
Country, so Romania was, like I said, there was a revolution to overthrow communists, but the first-tier communists were taken out, and the second-tier communists stole the revolution and took over. So basically, same people.
Just change the power. That's
corruption, anarchy. Romania I was grade fourth year in university, and I looked around and I'm like, what the hell? In the gym, in any gym, fight gym, you're gonna have alpha male and alpha girls and tough people. So half my gym were the tough dudes, the bad dudes in the city, and the other half were the SWAT team and the cops, and that's how every gym is.
Just like that here.
Attracts tough people. Well, I find out quickly at 23 that actually the people in charge of the country were worse than these worst criminals in the city. These guys, you knew who they were. That's their job, right? That's what they do. That's how they live their lives. The politicians in Romania at the time, they were worst. They were like soul killers. They kill people's souls, right? They steal freedom for you. So what they did with my nation, it's like the communist leader, when they caught him with his wife, they put him on a wall and they shot him in 1989, right? As a European country and civilization, my tribe, it's been there for 2,000 years. We are one of the older settlers of East Europe. Latin speakers. So we've been in Europe from the beginning. We're not emigrated from Asia. And to take a man with his wife that ruled that country for so long and put him on a wall on Christmas Day and execute him, it's rough.
It's cold.
Cold, man.
It's cold.
And then the people that took over from him, they were worse than him. And they got away with it. So to me, I look around and I see the politicians that I knew. I opened a gym there because I was the champ. So I got offered a gym, and what I sign up for, because they're like, here, take this place.
Nothing comes for free.
Train here. You train those guys here. And when I say I see what the payment has to be, I was like, Jesus, man. My parents taught me to be a righteous man, because they were Christian. And my grandfather fought in the Second World War. It got wounded on a front and come back. And he built the Baptist church in my city. Was one of the guys that built it, right? So he had Christian values, right? And he always taught me since I was a kid, what is toughness? What is real toughness? Going on a battlefield, having no food for days, right? So I grew up with stories like that. And he inspired me to always try my best as a human being to make the moral correct decision, right? Which is not easy all the time. But that at that point of my life, when I was 23, it was very easy. I'm like, I'm not them, man. I can't be part of this. In order to progress in that society, you had to be one of them. Sell your soul, basically, on a daily basis in different ways. So I no, that's not me. So then
So when you left, you came by yourself?
I was married, so I come with my ex, and her parents were already here. So I come and come to a different world. I had more other options, but I choose Canada. I believe in Canada. I see what Canada stands for, right? They were doing peacekeeping at the time in Bosnia and Croatia and all that region, and everything about Canada was amazing when I looked at it. Still today, I'm blessed. This is the best country we live in, no
100%.
doubt, no doubt. I travel all 5 continents, and trust me, when I see people complaining about the government in Canada, I'm going to tell them a thing. For thousands of years, people tried to find a perfect government that would make everybody happy, but that's impossible because we're all different. We're all different. We have different backgrounds. We grow up different. Some guys blue collar, some guys high educated, some guys. So we're all different. So it's impossible to make us all happy, right? Because of our backgrounds, before where we grow, the schooling, education. A plumber is not going to feel or think like the physics teacher, or a guy that works in a mine is not going to feel the same with, so we all so different. So it's hard to find a perfect government. But this is as close as it is, right? Now, when I see people complaining also, the best way to because here we have freedom. So if you're not happy, get involved.
Make a change.
Start by voting.
Yeah.
Make sure you show up and vote. Educate yourself on who you're voting, right? And if you're not still happy, go call your MP. Call them and tell them how you feel, because we have freedom here, and you have to appreciate that. Back where I grew up, you complain, you're dead.
Most of the complainers are usually people who are local, who are Canadian roots. They're not. They haven't immigrated here. Yeah. So the ones that immigrated here have the most appreciation.
Yeah. Like the government, even this is hard times for our country and for everybody in the world, right? I don't know why I can explain it, because I'm not a politician and I'm not a scientist, but the world is going through a shift in power. Is like the globalists versus nationalists and whatever they're trying to achieve here, and but we're still blessed. The kids stayed home and got a couple $1,000, man.
Yeah, it's true.
6 million kids in Africa starve. You know that? A year. Between 5 and 6 million kids starve to death for water, malaria, hunger. So we have to be thankful, right? And if you feel frustrated, because yes, it's hard for the government to represent everybody. It's hard to represent the entrepreneur, the guy that works for the government, and the guy that works in the construction industry. And so it's going to be impossible to make everybody happy. So, you need to think twice when you complain. If you want to do something, make sure you start with voting. Educate yourself. Who do you want to represent you? Support them. Get your family to vote them. Not happy, still get involved. Get involved.
Make the change yourself.
Knock in the door. They're going to say, yeah, you want to come with us? Yeah, come. This is what you stand for. Yeah. And that's how you're supposed to do it. Crying on Facebook or social media to your other friends that think the same like you, and they're going to say, oh, yeah, you're right, man. Good for you. Yeah, you should.
But don't do anything.
It's not going to help, man.
It doesn't do nothing. Yeah.
It's not going to help. Or you're going to have some people going to hate you.
Yeah.
Because people hate on planet Earth for political views. Unfortunately, color. If you're a different color than that person, they might hate you. Religion, insane. All religion, it's about peace and love. So, but still, most of the wars come from Muslim, Christian, Buddhists fighting each other. So it's kind of crazy, right?
Totally is.
Yeah.
Okay, then let's keep on this timeline here. I don't want to lose track. So you moved to Stony Creek.
Yeah.
That's where you resided.
Yeah.
And you said to your wife at the time,
yeah,
I'm going to open up a gym.
No, let me get to that.
Yeah. How? Okay. So I want to see how the birth of how this whole thing happened.
I come to Canada and I want to fight, man. What I know how to do, fight. I didn't want to coach nobody, man.
Oh.
Fight.
So did you compete here? Because everything was nothing was legal at the time.
I went to the local gym and I looked into it, but I'm a doer. So 2 days in, I'm there. What's up, man? Where can I fight? Nowhere. How much I get paid if I fight? Oh, you can go to California in Vegas. They were doing some Master Toddy and a guy, John, Big John, Laotian guy, used to do something in California. $500 if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
$500, man, I need to feed. My son was coming. I needed money. So 5 days in Canada, I see my neighbor loading his tiles in a truck, and I start helping him because I'm already going crazy. And the guy's like, what you do, man? I don't know. English, I had bad English. The people that started with me, because I have students that started with me 18 years ago, man, they're like, I don't know how. Shane Campbell was my teacher of English for my immigration test.
Really?
So me and him, he would be, I don't know what grade he was, but he was practicing with me the provinces when I took my citizenship.
No shit, that's cool.
Right?
That's cool.
Yeah, and so I started working, construction, hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know what I'm doing. I knew how to fight, but I had to do what I had to do, right? And it's not hard. It was very hard. And my first birthday, I remember in Canada, my dad, he says, where are you, man? It was hard, being poor and stuff, starting from zero. I had a phone about the time you buy minutes, and I had like 5 minutes to talk to my dad on my birthday, right? Yeah, I say, I'm on some balcony and sweating like crazy, getting hit by the sun. He says, come home. Come home right now. You're fine. I was doing good in Romania,
Mm-hmm.
considering. But I say, Dad, if I come home, that means I give up. I see the way these people live. I can do this. I just have to get through this. I knew it, right?
Immigrant mentality.
Yeah. And it was hard, man. It was very hard. I'm telling you, right? It was very hard but I train, I work like a dog. And at night I go to the gym. I used to drive, believe it or not, to a gym in Cambridge and train with Ajahn Khan Fadi. He was the one that was doing Thai boxing. The internet was very rudimentary. I didn't know, I just find, and I used to go there and train. And Lennox Lewis, that was his gym there, where he started and stuff. And I used to train in the city, go box, and
how old were you then? 23?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it took me a year. I started meeting some people, and people see what I do, and they were like, oh, shit. Okay. And then I got a job at the fitness gym, Premier Fitness, right? And I remember I go to the interview, and I bought myself a suit from Valley Village. Looked like a clown, right? I walked in there, and the CEO, this guy was like a multi-millionaire junker dealer. Shrewd businessman.
Yeah.
The guy had 40 gyms. I opened a gym for him here down the street in London. Right? Later, when I become, And sit in front of him, he looks at me. He barely knows what I'm saying. But I'm like, I'm not walking out of this office without a job. I want this so bad. It was a pay cut because I start doing good in construction because whatever I do, I put my heart into it. And I start making a paycheck, but I want to do what I love. And the man gave me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
I probably was the only candidate. So he says, go to this gym tomorrow and perform there. And okay, man, that, when I got that chance, I was like, oh, I'm going to hold on to this for my life, man. And I started working at that gym, and I started working there. 6 months later, I was the manager. 6 months, a year later, I was the manager of the year for the all 40 gyms. And that's how I opened the first Mademoiselle Spy, I think it was called, gym, woman's only gym in London.
Okay, on Wellington.
Yeah, on Wellington.
Okay.
So I stayed there for 2 months. I stayed here for 2 months.
I didn't know you had roots here like you did.
So I opened that gym. I'm not the opener. I was the manager, the only man in a woman's club. So I was telling Chantal on my way here that My first hour in the gym was girl after girl walking in, complaining about each other, fighting. Oh, she's that, she's that. I'm like, okay, look, we're gonna, yeah. So
Put a ring in the back. Make them
so
fight.
my job here was just to set it up and to make sure they have a system. But yeah, I was here, and crazy small world, right? And I worked for John. I learned a lot about business because I grew up in communism and some other form of communism when I left. It was not capitalism. You know, it was, whose son are you? In communist works like this. The ruling, they say equality, right? But like I said, it's impossible, because once you give power to a human being, because he's greedy, he's gonna become a ruthless dictator. So this dictator, all his family were in the first class of 1% of the super rich, living in palaces. And we had no food, right? And that just transferred to the next generation of communists that took over the country. And if you were the son of some guy that was in a party or wherever, you were advancing, right? So in capitalism, you have to work hard, right? And I learned that from that environment, from Premier Fitness Junker deal. I learned what to not do. A lot of things, they were shrewd business people, man. They would squeeze you. Sign up. Sign up. I was not when I sell something, I sell it from my heart. I really want to help those people, and that was made the difference. My English was the worst, but I was the best in a company. I got the Manager of the Year award because I had the best sales. But I had them because I worked the hardest. I never give up, and I believe in people. And people believe in it. People feel. People feel your energy, and if you bullshit, they feel. And if you real, they feel. And they would feel, they knew I care. And if they got a trainer, I make sure that trainer is going to train them. If they didn't show up, I called them myself. Because I had 12 hours in a day, and I make sure. And that's how that place that I was in, he put me in the worst, of course, and I make it the best, right? And so after that, I started understanding a bit about business, meet other people. And at that gym, there was a studio, a boxing studio, and I used to go hit the bag. And that's how I started. Like In Major was my first student that I trained, and he became a Campbell champion, a Thai boxing champion. Saw me hit the bag, right? And want to train with me, and that's how I started. He was the first guy I trained. And then one day Shane Campbell walks in. I think he was my second student. Him or Dennis, I'm not sure which one of them. Because I didn't train volume, I just trained, I was doing my job. Yeah. And then he walked in, and I asked him, what's up?
How old was he at the time?
16, 15.
Wow,
15,
just
16.
a kid.
Yeah, a kid. A kid. And I'm going to write a book, so I'm keeping that for the book. But the first encounter was I'm like, wow, this kid comes from where I come from, nothing, shit. I better help him, man. I better do good. And I see him like he's athletic, right? And it was perfect. So he learned, and then he became a good fighter, and he became Campbell champ. And then we traveled to the States, and he won every title. There was same kind of setup for him, like I was for me. Back in those days, when you go to the States, if you don't win by knockout, you lose.
They're only bringing you in to lose.
Yeah. So the first time we passed the border was in Detroit, 8 miles. Exactly there was the fight at the American Legion. Jamie, I'm from Romania, right? I see on TV, Hollywood, Eminem, 8 miles, so cool. I go there, is a jungle. I'm like, holy smoke.
This is not cool.
This is not cool, man. This is like a jungle.
Yeah.
With people with guns. And shit, it's like crazy. Shane goes in, weighs in, and I told the promoter, where is his opponent? Oh, he already weighed in. I said, well, I have to see it. No, he already weighed in. Don't worry about it. Next day, he's the main event. America versus Canada. This guy, Steve Rudzinski, was his name. He shows up. I look at him. He must be a 190.
Oh, wow.
This guy is just, man. listen, man, I don't want to insult the man, not Jews, but this guy looked like
Just big. Just a big boy.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way this guy was 155 last night. No way. No way. It's okay. Shane is like a toothpick, a 16-year-old kid that fought 7-8 times at the time. Okay. 5-round fight. And I told him, son, you have to knock this guy out, man. And he hit him first round, and he hit him hard with the front kick under the jaw and dropped him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy went out. The bell ring. The referee comes, waves the fight to me and him. We're celebrating. This guy's pulling him on a stool,
Waking him up.
him up.
Way.
They tell the ref the fight is not over. Saved by the bell. I'm telling you, it was 1 minute and a half in the first. I'm like, what? Okay, Shane. I said, listen, man, move around. Let him miss a few times. This guy is on Queer Street like that. They give him about 2-minute break. Comes up. Shane hits him again. Flats him down. This guy beats the count. Now the ref got the memo. So that was the slowest count. That was an 8 count in about 30 seconds.
Wow.
Right? Fight continues. The third time Shane hit him, the guy is out completely. Doesn't move. And there was nothing else to do. One guy from the crowd that I met at that fight and then become my student, and we traveled to Hong Kong and fought in Japan. He was the king there. Raul Lopez jumps in the ring and goes after the promoter, telling, you're going to kill this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And we get the belt, and an old man from the American Legion that was running the bar comes and takes us through the back door and says, you guys better go this way.
Wow.
Right? It was, man. So we walk out that way, and that was my first experience in the United States with Shane, right? He never left Stony Creek, probably. I'm coming from Europe. I traveled there, but, I expect, United States, man, no. That was
See on TV, things should be fair and freedom.
Took us through the back door and told us, buddy, just
go.
Keep going, man.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I started training in Shane and Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
And Dennis, same thing. Do we have time to go through all this?
Yeah. We're golden, bro. Yeah.
Dennis walked in the gym first time. Do you have time for
that?
that?
Because I'm a huge fan of Dennis. I always have been ever since first time I actually cornered a guy who fought him.
Okay.
In Iroquois.
Okay.
In Hagersville.
Okay.
And I remember saying to the guy that fought him, I said, Dennis is a fast starter. He probably Superman punches usually the first thing he's going to come out the gate with, and he's going to try to take your head off.
Is that Paul Jackman?
No, that was Sean.
Sean.
Yeah. He's passed away now.
Oh my goodness, no way.
He passed away.
Jesus Christ.
Unfortunately, drug overdose
my God.
in jail. It's too bad because he was like a real, had a lot of hardworking. But I remember that fight specifically, and I'd seen Dennis fight him numerous times. I remember fight him Chucky a bunch of times, and I knew how aggressive he was, and he just didn't give a shit. His nose all crooked. He just didn't give a fuck.
Yeah. So the Dennis story.
So tell me about Dennis. This is cool.
Okay. So Dennis, as a manager, I was taking in co-op students. And this lady comes in and says, hey, I got this student, and, he's a good kid and stuff. And I looked at her, and I'm like, why are you trying to sell me this guy?
Mm-hmm.
I take them all, and they go clean the toilet. That's the co-op student in the gym.
Mm-hmm.
They clean the toilet and put the dumbbells back. That's all they do. But if you're selling me something's not right. So I'm like, yeah, what the hell? Dennis walks in a couple days later. Of course, didn't show up the first day. He come up the second day, and he walks around. I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm like, yeah. Where you come on, man? What? You got into trouble, son? How you know it? Did the teacher say? I said, no, I just see the way you walk, man.
Yeah.
Right? I knew this kid is trouble. And come down. I said, what do you do? I do Taekwondo, man. I'm this and that. Come in the ring. One guy kicked him almost fly out of the ring. I said, no, man, this is Thai boxing. It's real fighting. You have to stay in and fight. You can't just score a point, fall down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this kid is the most talented guy I ever trained in my life. by far,
Mm-hmm.
by far. But he's a rock star, man.
Watch it, freaks.
He's a rock star,
Yeah,
man. He's a rock star. And, he has the most devastating. He's the only Canadian to knock out a former Lumpini champ, and not at, 185 type people are small.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, he's a guy that, I trained him and Josh Hill in the same time, right? And Josh started 0-0. And, both very talented, man. So they sharpen each other up. And then Adrian was fighting at the time, Adrian Woolley.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like a big brother to them, right? And then become their wrestling coach, of course. And he was, man, just like a good mix there, right? And then we had, so it was them. And so Dennis, man, Dennis is just, if he followed through with everything 100%, this guy could be the...
Because he was on a tear in China for a bit too.
Knockout punch in both
over there
hands.
beating everybody up.
Knockout punch in both hands, power, and he can take it too.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, when I told you as a fighter, you have to be able to take as much as you give. This guy can take it too, man. Like, he's going to take a brick to the head and move forward.
Yeah.
And, and then after him, Shane, in Mukai walked in, right?
Mukai Moramo?
Yeah, he walked in, and I hold the pads first time.
African assassin?
Yeah, I hold pads for this guy first time, and I was like, what the hell? This dude was a sprinter for Livingston University on a scholarship from Zimbabwe, so they took him. So his explosiveness, we used to do sprints with the fighters, and I used to let all the fighters go half the field and then let Mukai leave and still beat them.
Wow.
And I bet you he didn't even try.
Yeah.
This guy, a freak of nature, incredible athlete.
And he moved out west too, didn't he?
Yeah, his parents are from Edmonton, right?
Yeah.
Because see, life takes its course, and kids grow up, and they have to follow with their life. And his mom and dad were there, and it was easy for him, and moved. And he's doing amazing there. He's promoting Thai boxing. So proud of him,
Mm-hmm.
He had his run into MFC, and he did good. And so he's doing his thing, and he's having a marketing company now, and amazing. So I go to his shows with some fighters now. It's amazing, right? In Edmonton, Alberta.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So you have all these guys, and you're in a gym. When do you decide to get your own place?
So
How did Iron Tiger become?
So what happened, I went to Thailand with Shane to the World Championship. And you know what? I say, Shane, forget it, man. My vacation was for a week or something, right? And I said, fuck, me staying here for a few more days, man. Just enjoy it. He fought 3 times that week, right?
That week,
yeah. So you weigh in every morning and you fight. And he got the bronze medal. Got an amazing KO. I wish I had a video of that, because his Handuken stuff that he did, that was crazy. But that knockout in Thailand was insane. And the Thai people were like, who is this kid from Canada, right? Like this skinny kid from Canada. What happened, Jamie? The guy he fought, I saw him before fighting before, and he's a lefty, like a sniper. And I told Shane to switch the knee in the air. So he come here with the left overhand, and Shane switch, fake a left knee and come with the right knee, hit him right in the jaw and knocked him out so bad. The guy was out for a long time. And he was doing some crazy stuff on the floor. Like, I was scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was scared because I see somebody die in a ring before, right? And even if you're not involved, it affects you.
Mm-hmm.
And I was scared for this guy. It's 70 degrees in that arena with no air conditioning. This guy is from Egypt or Palestinian guy, but I think he was training in Lebanon or something like that. And he was out, man, for a long time. And his eyes were not there, and the doctors were not prepared.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the first day of the championship. Yeah, so I was really scared for Shane. Because I'm like, man, if this 17, 18-year-old kid is going to end up going to Thailand with me, People already think I'm crazy. I have an axe and I train fighters to go in the ring and fight.
And he kills somebody.
And he kills somebody, like it's gonna mess up this kid's head. And the guy didn't die, thank God. And he stayed in the hospital all night and the whole thing. And then the next day he come and he was not the same man, eh? Because this sport is the most realist, ruthless sport. And I tell that my students all the time. One bad night, you might never be the same.
Mm-hmm. I've seen it. I've seen guys change. I see them change. Guys who fought a couple of years ago are not the same today. They're different. Their speech is different. Their memory's off. It's sad. It's a hurt business, man.
Right? So, yeah, so he fought that week. And I said, we're going to stay for a few days and enjoy Thailand. Go to the Roosters Fight Stadium and from yes, it's just for a kid from Canada to go there and not enjoy it. So we stayed a few days. And I come back and I got a phone call from the CEO. Where you been? You crazy motherfucker, this, that, right? I said, what the hell? I'm listening to this. I can't believe it. I make hundreds of thousands for this guy. Click.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Called the competition. I got a job next day.
Mm-hmm.
But I say I don't want to be a manager. I'm done with the selling and this and that. It's not. I'm a sportsman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a sportsman, and I like to be in the gym. I want my feet to be on the mats, and that's what makes me happy, right? Because happiness, it's spiritual. People can say whatever they want to say, or people say they want to be rich because they don't understand it. As soon as you have more money than you should, people think of you differently, right? Even your own family judge you, right? So for me, happiness is spiritual. I want to do what I love. Of course, I want to take care of my family. It's my duty. So I'm not going to be a starving artist and, have a hat there and do some tricks with my kid and try to, no, I'm going to provide. But for me to be happy, I have to be in the gym, right? I don't know when the door opens, Jamie, and one new kid walks in, I still have the same fire, man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, shit. I told this parent the other day, I said, whoa, man, whoa, we got some here. This Vietnamese kid doesn't even know what I see. His dad doesn't know what I'm talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. This kid can be a ninja, right? And those things make me happy, man. As happy as the win in the UFC or a world title in Bellator or, things I achieve at my highest with my advanced fighters. When I see the new kid walk in and I can tell that
something special.
And, people take it the wrong way sometimes because they're like, why do you encourage kids to fight? I don't. Nobody encouraged me to fight. I was born to do this. And those kids, they lucky to walk in. Like Dennis tells me all the time, Coach, I'm lucky I walk in your gym. Because you know where he would end up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's what I think the best thing that our sport does for our community and society. It's not the world champion. The world champion is entertainment. People like to watch Saturday night the fight. But the best thing that we do, it's take kids off the street and change their life and focus it into something positive.
Mm-hmm.
A control environment. You're going to fight. Those kids are going to fight, man.
Regardless.
They're going to fight. And
regardless.
If they fight in the street, they're going to end up in jail.
Yeah.
They're going to hurt people. They're going to grab a gun. God knows where it takes you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to, when the tough guy's life, it leads into alcohol abuse, drugs, crime. But when the kid comes and I see that he has that energy, he's a fighter. It's a 1%er thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not everybody. I have thousands of students through my life. But the 1% that, you can tell. You can tell. And the parents tell me, this kid, when the quarantine come and the lockdown,
mm-hmm.
the one mother called me and said, when you opening, Coach, my son is breaking everything in the house, beating up his brothers. This guy, it's an alpha dude, man. He needs to be in a cage, man.
So I worry about that. That's the whole thing with how has the COVID stuff affected you? I mean, ultimately, everybody needs that outlet. They need to exercise. They need to, especially fighters. If they don't have that outlet, what are they going to do? Like you said, the mom calling saying, hey, when are you opening back up? He needs to get in because he's being destructive. If they don't have that outlet, what are they going to do? So their mental health is taking the hit.
Huge.
So how has the COVID stuff affected you and your students and gym?
Well, like I said, I come from communism. Suppressing people is the worst thing you can do to a society. I understand we have to protect our elders, and there is a huge problem going on, and we have to do the right thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And I respect my community and I respect the people in it, and I want the majority to rule what's the best for us, right? Like I said, the government tries to make everybody happy. Of course, as a business owner, it's not the best time for us
Mm-hmm.
to be locked down, close your door, no money coming in. Thankfully, I live my life the righteous way in my community, and I'm blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of my students choose to support the gym on those hard times, and the landlord, like, he saw after 2 months that I'm paying for rent, he stepped up and says, man, I can't do this to this dude.
Mm-hmm.
So he stepped in and did his part, and I'm blessed. But those are results of me being who I am,
Mm-hmm.
paying my rent the first month of every month, all the time, because that's my duty and that's how I live my life. Even if I'm away somewhere, I make sure he gets it, right? And I'm doing it all the time, and I'm doing it right. And the guy respects me, like my community respects me, and my students love me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling you, I'm overwhelmed with the love, because Jamie, like, even when I open, I want to give them the months free they paid when I was closed. And most of them say, are you crazy, coach? I got to do that for you. I'm like, what? I met you 3 times. You just joined.
Mm-hmm.
Say, I'm thankful that I can come here. I don't cause trouble at home. My wife is happy. I have a job. I didn't have to be locked down, right? Because most, some businesses were not.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, man, it was like crazy, Jamie. It's like, man, I'm like, Jesus, these people, like, I barely know. They support me. And he say, no, man, I'm a huge fan. I'm honored to be part of this. So it's kind of you shake you're like, it's crazy. And I see that one of my friends on Facebook, because I don't watch news, right? I don't watch news because what I find, this is just my opinion as a Canadian citizen, right? When I grow up in communism, they sell me a propaganda. So not me, because I'm like, my dad and my parents and my grandparents taught me that do not take everything what people give you. Take second opinion and third opinion, and then make your own opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And when I grew up under the communist regime, propaganda was everything. Every day they tell you that Americans want to kill communists. They're the worst people. They have nuclear bombs, and you should be scared of them. And hide. And be ready. And they're coming. And that's why we're poor. That's why you have no food, because of them. That was the propaganda there, right? Well, when I moved here, the propaganda is still alive. I was surprised. This is democracy, the strongest democracy in the world, right? And if they sell us, sometimes they sell us that, wow, we need to fight these guys, Russians,
Mm-hmm.
and then Chinese want to crush us. But Deng Xiaoping, I know history, and I've been to China. I'm a history buff, I'm huge into that. When I travel, I read. And Deng Xiaoping, when he opened China to the West and met with Nixon, the Americans embraced that because it made them huge profits and took all the jobs there, and
Mm-hmm.
right? But now they're the biggest enemies. So I don't believe in propaganda and scaring people. I think that's not fair, right? I know there is a big, huge problem right now with the virus that's killing people, and that's sad. And we need to address it. And I'm all about that. But also, I can see that we are under a scare campaign. Scare,
I feel the same.
Like pushing that we should, look, They say, my friend's Facebook thing said that 75% of Canadians desire a new lockdown, right? And I thought about it. Like I said, I want to see more, and I don't want to look at it as, from my perspective, as a business owner, right? I want to look at it as a Canadian and be considerate to the rest of the community. And then I tried to do the math, looked around, do a bit of research. Well, 10% of the Canadians, 10% of Canadians work for the government. And a lockdown definitely would benefit them because they get the same pay and they work at home. And you know what? Good for them. Why not? If you had $100,000 a year from the government,
they're going to
stay
sit you
home,
at home? Yeah, sure, why not?
don't have to drive to work, don't have to wear the fancy clothes, right? Don't have to pay for the lunches and be politically correct. You go on Zoom with the underwears on and put a tie on top, and you're good. And I don't blame them.
Yeah.
If I was one of them, probably I would feel the same. Then the other 25% are in a rat race. Same story. Get in a car, drive to Toronto, an hour and a half, work, dress up nice, make sure you politically correct with everything you do. Drive back for 2 hours. It's 10 o'clock at night. You see your kid for 2 minutes and you go to sleep and you do it again. It's a rat race. But they can do the same job sitting home on a computer because we live in a digital world. Darwin said it. Evolution, it changes humanity all the time and species. We're not the same people. I think society needs a restructuring for sure. And that's what I think that a new agenda is, to restructure how we live our lives. 25% of Canadians are in a rat race, man. These people, I don't care how much money you make, but if 13 hours a day you're on the road, away from your family, but you can do that work on a computer. You don't have to pollute the air. So if I was them, sure, they want a lockdown. It benefits them. Right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right? So you are, then you have the other group that don't make $2,000 a month. They'll take
it.
They'll be happy taking it.
Yeah,
Stay home.
Not? Yeah.
Stay home.
I just feel for the gyms, the people who work in restaurant industry, waitresses and waiters.
Then you have us. It sucks for us, man. A lot of my friends lose their businesses. It sucks. It sucks to be us. Big time. Thankful, like I said, I'm one of the lucky ones maybe that I have support, right? And people believe in me and they support me. I'm blessed. But for the rest, it sucks. So what I'm getting to, Jamie, is that this government should consider everybody and they should look at us that getting hurt right now by this to make everybody else happy and consider a way to support us. So to make sure that if the vaccine is the solution to this problem, when that thing comes, we should be able to open the door. It breaks my heart to see the gym down the street from me closed down. I know the young man. He tries his best, man. Tries to put bread on the table. Just like these 75% of people that are for the lockdown. Right? We shouldn't suffer. We should not. And if they the first time they did it, it's like, I put everything like a fight. You go in a ring and then you get hit under the belt. You don't expect it. It's not in the rules. If, you get hit by nobody walking into your gym, you kind of see it coming, or you do it to yourself because you're not a good coach or you're not a good businessman, or you do something stupid and then you kind of see your way, you're going, But just to be shut down tomorrow, you close, man. Like I tell my students, January, if somebody told me that in March, they're going to tell you, close down your business, you're done. Stay home. I would say you're insane. In a democracy, and then, so if they lock us down, they have to make sure that they take care of us too. for the better of the rest.
I seen a thing online. A lot of the gyms and a lot of the PSOs are banding together to try to make gyms essential.
Yeah.
Make it essential work.
Yeah.
And it should be. I think 100% think it should be. It's mental health. They should be pushing health, being healthy. You get your boost your immune system. That's what we should be pushing. But they're not talking about that.
And look, this government. You know, I don't want to. It's painful to get into it. My student called me, man. Saturday night, I'm ready for dinner, and I get a phone call. He's at the bridge. This is real life. I'm talking, eh?
Mm.
He's ready to go because he lost his job and he can't put bread on the table. This is real stuff. It is happening in our society right now. Because, you know, some people, the job, providing for their family, that's their happiness. When I talk to you about what's important, spiritual wealth. Spiritual wealth is to, everybody has a different definition of that.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are happy painting. Some people are happy singing. Some people are happy doing what I do. Some other people are happy doing carpentry, right? And a lot of people, because the way they program us, are happy to go home to their family, take their dog in their lap, spend time with their kids. But when you take away their revenue and they can't put food on the table, it's going to be unrest at home first, right? And the break-up families. It's going to be domestic violence. And yeah, Adrian Woolley is one of my good friends, and he tells me their phone calls, man, are off the hook.
Mm-hmm.
Suicidal, like, you know, it's going.
Yeah, he's a Toronto police officer, Adrian Woolley. Or Peel.
Peel, yeah. So their calls are constant domestic violence and suicide attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Triple.
Yeah. Adam from Martial Law Clothing.
Yeah.
He's a police officer in Toronto. He told me the same thing. He said, man, he's like, the suicide calls, people are going crazy. Guys chasing each other with knives. Like, the calls are up way more than what they were. And then now you add in people hate the police now. So it's a whirlwind of destruction. So every time you look around, something is bad, something is negative, and people are just breaking down. It's really sad, man. I hate seeing it like this.
It's sad, man. It's sad. Yeah. And but it's real, and you know, life is like a fight. Right? When you get in a ring, you're gonna meet adversity.
Mm-hmm.
One way or the other. You roll with the punches, they say. I believe life is the same. You know, you deal with what you have to deal with. They're talking about a second lockdown. Today they closed it. My friend and student, and I talk to him every day and every day and every night with Claude Patrick.
Mm-hmm.
Gym is closed. Peel region closed today. Huge gym.
Mm-hmm.
You ever see his gym? It's big, man.
Yeah.
You know how long it took? We're gonna get back, if you want, where I started from to where I'm at today with my gym, right? Because, you know, he's huge. He has a huge gym. Not allowed to have people in. Then the aid he's getting, I don't know if he's gonna cover, like, you know, like the expenses. Like, this guy has real, like, he's beautiful. The mats are like top of the line, $220 a piece. He has those zebra nice ones, and right, he did it right. He got the right thing, and he's been going for a long time, so he had no problems running a legitimate good business. And how many kids he took off the street, how many kids he got in shape, you know, like through the years. He's been doing this forever. But today, the premier said close. So the first time they come at us, I thought that, you know, they should at least say, hey, you can do one-on-ones. Some people still go to work, construction workers, this, that. What is the difference, right? They're going to work.
Do smaller classes, maybe stay open longer.
And one-on-one, you know, like I sanitize everything. You come in, you train, but that gives me a lifeline. It keeps me moving. It gives me a fighting chance. Because the construction workers I have at the gym, they don't even understand how the lockdown works because they've been working the whole time. So, you know, so they should think a way to keep us going, man. I mean, we do our part for the community, you know. It's not just the entertainment, like I said, the fighter that goes in the ring and people tune in and they entertain. That's one side of the story, right? The biggest part of the story, it's how many kids we take off the street and how many people we change their life, by getting in shape, by staying involved in something. When you're into my gym, and I know many gyms like that, you're staying away from trouble, man. The kids are there in a controlled environment. They don't hang it out with, bad elements. They with good people in a clean, and that's the biggest thing we do for the community, I think,
Give them the outlet. How has training been for, say, Kyle Nelson, for example? You just came back from Apex Center in Las Vegas.
So
how does a guy like that prepare for a fight during this whole lockdowns and gyms running half capacity? Like, how do you guys prepare for that?
Not easy, right? Not easy. Sure. Because lockdown is that. But I'm very close with them, and we have a system that we together every day. So, but the sparring partners, the wrestling partners, it's hard.
And especially to compete at such a high level.
Highest level.
But I mean, the whole world is going through the same thing at the same time.
But when I went to the States, it was like, I didn't see that it was a complete lockdown and stuff. But then they say, well, that's how the numbers are high. So, I don't know. I don't have I'm just a sportsman. I'm not a scientist or a politician. I don't have the answers for this, but not easy. But you roll with the punches, man. And, you can't. Don't let yourself defeat. That's the message for my students. Don't let these hard times beat you. Right?
No, you're right.
They can be a lot worse, man. Can be a lot worse. Humanity at many times was on verge of like wars and, destruction. And, when I remember the stories my grandfather told me, and also where I remember where I grew up, I just have to close my eye for a second and think where I come from, open my eyes, and I'm thankful again.
Be grateful.
Be grateful.
Now, I want to ask one more thing.
Yes, sir.
UFC cutman. How the hell did you get that position, and how did that
Let's get there.
I'd like to talk about that too. There's so much
now,
and please, because I just want to shift gears just because the COVID thing is this whole thing is it's sad.
Yeah.
I want to just switch gears on to something a little bit positive because I want to end on a positive note with you.
Yeah, no worries.
So I want to talk about the cutman.
So
dream job.
Well,
so cool.
But let me tell you something, because one guy asked me, are you a coach? Are you a cutman? Are you a manager? Are you a promoter? Are you a TV analyst? Are you a commentator? You know what I am, Jamie? I'm a martial artist. Martial artist until I die. I'm gonna do that till I die. And being a martial artist, I'm a student of movement, of psychology, right? I'm a coach, right? Because that's what define me. And from that, they saw my work. I tell one guy walked in Montreal last time I was working a boxing fight. He says, man, how can I become a UFC cutman? I said, keep doing what you're doing, work hard. People will notice you, right? I'm not connected. I come here fresh off the boat, hands in a pocket, from a poor country, but I work hard. I learned that from my sport. That hard work will take you places. And that's what happened, right? I work and people see my work. And when I got to the UFC, I still work and mind my own business, don't get involved in politics. And then my colleagues give me the main event without me. I never ask. I let my work speak for himself. I'm not perfect. I'm learning. I'm a student. I strive to be perfect. I'm pretty good at it, right?
Yeah,
I'm pretty good at it. But I wanna be the best, and I'm gonna strive until I die to learn and be better and educate myself. And I'm, even like I see a new coach wrapping hands, and I watch. I want to see what is this guy doing. But I'm also blessed because I follow my path, right? I follow my path, and I encounter the best in the business. And, I'm friends with Stitch Duran, Rudy Hernandez, Rob Munro, Brad Tate, Ted Lucio. It's my brothers. So, being with them, they the best. They rubbed on me. I see what he's doing, Mexican style, this guy, that guy. I have my own style, of course, because I'm a Thai boxer, right? And that's how it happened, man. People saw my work, and I got recommended to this guy, and then the UFC called me one day and says, "Hey, you want to come work this event?" Yeah.
And boom, just like that.
Just like that.
Because every time I see a Canadian UFC, you're either cornering or you're wrapping hands or you're stitching cuts. Like you're a jack of all trades, and it's pretty good.
It's part of the martial arts journey, right? People don't know. I love the katana. I'm a student of that too, because it's part of martial arts. I was fighting in a ring, man, and I went to there was an 8-man tournament, right? And no rules. You can kick the groin. You can take them down, ground and pound, wherever you want, right? But the boxing gloves on, and no weights, and you have to be a black belt, right? And I went there and I said, well, I was second player, in Romania in kickboxing. I was a kid. Right? They say, "Oh, you have a black belt?" "No, I don't." "Well, I don't think you can fight then, man. And you're pretty small. Why you want to do this?" Some judo guy was like, I said, "No, I want to do this, man." Right? And I fought. Then I fought the Karate Kid, and the guy hit me like I was in the ring already, like I don't know how many times. He hit me, I didn't feel nothing. When I hit him twice, it was over. Then I fought a Kyokushin dude, beat him up. And the judo guy, at the end, when he see what I did to the first two, he was terrified of my hands. So I beat him too. And that day, I made so much money in Romania that, I was like, holy smoke. But that's where I met the guy that was doing the tournament. He was a martial artist. He was practicing Jeet Kune Do, and he has nunchucks and sword. And we end up hanging out, and I want to learn that so bad, right? But that's part of martial arts. I love martial arts. I love the defending the knife, throwing the star, doing all that stuff. I love it all.
Yeah.
And the cutman thing I learned because I was with my fighters all over the world. I need to learn that. I have to save this guy's face, man.
100% you do.
Like, you remember one thing, back in those days, man, people didn't know what the hell they're doing.
No,
man.
I've seen it. And I've seen it a lot of times in at shows and backs. You walk around a back room where people are getting warmed up, and you just observe. And you watch the guys getting warmed up. You watch the guys that they don't know how to wrap hands. You watch the guys that they don't know how to warm the guy up. Like, the sport is filled with a ton of journeymen. So there's the real professionals, and the guys that they have a large stable of killers, and they're doing it right. But then you'll see another stable of guys who they have no fucking clue what they're doing when they're in there, and you can see them backstage aimlessly walking around the room trying to watch other people to see how they're doing things because they don't know, they're afraid to ask.
Yeah.
And they're still at the birth stage of growing. So, I mean, you've been around for a long time, man.
But Jamie, what is important about that, and I have an advice for the young coaches, right? Because I was one of them too, right? There's no book to read, and whoever writes the book right now doesn't know what he's doing. So don't follow that. When you have a gym and you never coach somebody, start with the beginning fighter. And start teaching him the ABC, and take him to the ring, and you're going to learn. And to take that fighter and make sure he fights, keep him involved. And every time he fights, you will learn too as a coach. That's per practice, man. Mm-hmm. Imagine, look, I'm going to put it like this. You get a guy to read a cooking book and say, go. You pass the test. Now go cook the food and make it good. Man, he's going to suck.
Yeah.
He's going to suck because he's going to mess it up 100 times until he gets it right. Right? So for the young coaches, I see so much. This guy never trained a amateur fighter. He's in grade 1. Mm-hmm. Now he's cornering a professional fighter. That guy is the university level. So this man, coach, skip all these steps, and now he's teaching university, but he doesn't have the base, man.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's important for the young coach to train amateurs first, take it to the ring, and learn from every situation. Man, I have so many funny stories, man. I'm gonna write a book, eh?
All right.
How I learned.
So tell me about this book. You're gonna dive into. You're gonna write a book.
The book is gonna be a good book because it's so many, this life I live, right? And the travels on 5 continents and being involved in a sport from the lowest level to the highest level, So yeah, that's good. But I'm not ready.
Mm-hmm.
The book is. I'm not. There is more chapters to go.
I wanted to add something quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So just to kind of go back, something we were talking about at the beginning, because I wanted to come back to it. But you said when you were in Romania, you left when you were 23?
Yeah.
23. And you said they offered you a gym? Is that what you're saying? Like the
No, I had my own gym.
But you had your own gym?
I had gym.
Okay. And then how come you just, you were saying something about they said, you didn't want to keep working your gym in Romania. You didn't want to...
No, I don't want to get into it because it's a criminal element involved and stuff. Okay. So I just don't want to get into that,
Okay, no.
Yeah,
problem.
It's just like what I was saying that, here, son, take this gym.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, right? Now it's time to pay up. Oh, it's free. Yeah, but now it's time to pay up with your skill.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? What is my skill? Fighting, right? So that's why I say I don't want to sell my soul because I want to do it in a ring. I'm a gentleman, man. I don't want to. So that's why you didn't got it, because I avoided that because
Sorry for bringing it up.
negativity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I hate negativity. I love positivity. And I love when people try to better their life in a positive way, not a conniving way,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what righteousness means, to try your best to be morally correct. Man, look, don't get me wrong. I'm a human being, make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Silly sometimes, dumbass sometimes, right? That's how we learn. But the coaches, like what I was talking about coaching, right? Do not skip the steps, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do not skip the steps. That's where I learned to rap too. My rap was decent, but I got better. And I tell you the difference. When you work with the fighter, this guy is used to your rap and he's happy. UFC, no, man. No. Trial by fire.
Really?
Tell you one funny story, right? My third show. One of the pickiest fighters to rap, Rafael Feijao. Okay, nobody want to touch him, man. Right? But I'm hungry. I want to touch him. I want to rub this man's hands. I want to do it so bad. And you know what? Who's going to do it? Let the young kid do it, man. Let the Canadian, yeah. Walked in, walked out. Loves it. Loves it the first time I touched him. In a change room with him is my friend Dida Amadek. I used to manage him in his K1 fights. So him Brazilian, he tell him something and I rub this guy's hand. The guy looks at it and loves it. I'm out of there in 15 minutes. 2 hands, a picky guy in the books. I walked out. The guys see me walking out. Hey man, when you gonna do Feijao's hands? When you gonna wrap him? He's been done 20 minutes. What? They go double check. They go, oh yeah, this guy very good.
It's got to make you feel good.
No, but make sure you're ready for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
Pay your dues. I was ready for the moment. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I heard he's picky, I loved it. Because I'm ready. Because you know what happens, Jamie? Every human being, we get back to that, is different. And every fighter is different. One guy likes it tight because he's a striker. Jiu-jitsu guys like it soft because they want to grab. They want to have the dexterity to grab. Boxers want it one way. And if you don't do it like a boxing style rap, they think you don't know what you're doing. Right? Glaube Teixeira, right? John Hackerman cornered him and used to wrap his hands. I'm there wrapping his hands. And John is watching. But Glaube right away, these guys know what he's doing and he's comfortable like that. Right? So But that's to get there. That's university level.
Mm-hmm.
For me to get to university level, I had to do those years of with the bucket, like going village to village and city to city with fighters, and that's how you do it. And that's my advice for the young coach. Don't be greedy in life. Take your time.
Mm-hmm.
I was the same in the ring.
Takes years to become an overnight success.
In the ring, I was the same. In life, I'm the same. I let them go and give them confidence in the ring, right? Because I know I'm a fighter and I can take it. So I rule them in. Come on, son. Right? And they think, oh, I got this guy. But the whole time I'm looking for openings.
Mm-hmm.
And I pick my shots like a sniper. And I did the same in my life. The ring lessons I learned, I took it through my life. And I didn't skip steps. I put the hard work with the amateurs.
And it showed.
Right? I put the hard work and I learned. And I was in change rooms. And I learned. And then I got to the bigger change rooms. Then I got to the change room of Amsterdam Arena with 21,000 people when Badr Hari fought Semi Shield. And I'm there, a kid from Romania, from Canada. Canadians never had somebody fight at Amsterdam Arena. Ever. I'm there with this kid from Stony Creek, Ontario, Shane Campbell. And the coach next to me is trained Andy Sauer and Melvin Manhoof and all the best strikers in the world. And they look at me, what I'm doing. And I'm looking at them, what are they doing? And I learn.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And those experiences are experiences that money cannot buy. Right? I didn't do it for the money. I did it because I loved it. Right? And those what the kids, the trainers have to understand, those young guys. Right? Make sure you have an ultimate goal, who you want to be as a coach. And learn. Right? Learn by doing it, not by reading the book. Oh, I know that because I learned that. I read that this guy said, no. Or this fighter said. Listen, go there and do the work. Be in the trenches. Right? Learn, spend 5 years training those amateur guys. Right? And you're going to earn respect too, right? As doing it. Like, you're going to earn respect because other coaches see your work and you see their work and you see what you're doing wrong and what you're doing good. And then Jamie, when I got hired by the UFC, man, like I'm there. I'm Greg Jackson is beside me cornering the fighter. I'm right there. I see Demetrius Johnson with his coach, say it. Oh, man. One of the best, the wizard, Matt Hume.
Yep.
I see them roll and how he warms up. And I was like, Jesus, right? So I'm learning. I'm getting my schooling. I'm learning. I don't have my booklet because I wanted to, but I'm learning. I'm watching that and I'm like, holy smoke. Okay, this guy is the best of the best right now.
It's amazing to hear that because of your credentials as they are. It's like you've done so much for so many tough athletes in our province. And even in China, I watched a documentary on you in China that had on you. It was in Chinese, you're going to understand it, but it was like, you're world renowned. And here you're saying like, I'm still learning. It's amazing. You are definitely a true martial artist.
So the China episode, right? It cut me back to when I started in Canada because I didn't so we used to get back to Shane and those guys in the beginning. And you asked me about my first gym, right? Well, when I started teaching those dudes, my English was so bad, Jamie. If you met me, it's crazy, right? Bad. I never study English. I just come here, never write English, never went to a class, nothing. I had to work so I can pay my bills, take care of my family. And nobody gave me nothing, right? So I had to do it. And I'm there with Shane, training him and showing movement, demonstration. And he's not doing it right. Show him again and do it. And that's what I did with Ian, Shane, Mukai. Shane was teaching me English, how to speak and what, And when I went, like I said, for some tests I had to do in order to get my citizenship, Shane was my teacher, man. He's there with me. He's learning geography as we doing it. So once I start training those guys, I moved to another gym from Premier and I was training. I said I don't want to do the management thing because I said like selling and goals. I want to be a coach, man. That's what I am, a coach. I love to do that. And I went to the Family Fitness was the competition. They hired me like that because they heard about me, and I got a job. And they told me, okay, which gym you want to? I said, no, I want to be a trainer, man. Just want to be a trainer. So they put me on Winston Churchill. There was a Family Fitness in Mississauga. Mm-hmm. It was a great gym and a great area. So in no time, I got booked. I started at 6 a.m. and I tell my students this story because I want them to understand what it takes. Okay, what it takes to open a business. So I never got a bank loan or nothing. How? I'm an immigrant. I don't got parents here. I got nothing. So I had to do it myself, right? 6 a.m., my first client. I wake up at 4:30 in Stony Creek, shower, get ready, get there half an hour early because I'm never going to be late. Never, right? It comes from my discipline, from my sport. And I go there early, half an hour, get ready, have my coffee, boom, 6 o'clock, my first client. I was booking myself solid to 3 o'clock every hour. I know there's no break here, but I know one guy is not going to show up. And that was my break where I'm going to have some food and continue doing it. I had to be done by 3 to make it back to Hamilton and avoid traffic, heavy traffic. And I used to go, and the first gym I had, it was the size of the studio, maybe a bit bigger, right? And I sleep on the floor there for a couple hours. And then I teach my classes because it was so small. I had to do a bunch of classes. So I was be done, go home at 10 p.m., be beat up, right? And then do it again. And the weekends, I used to travel with the fighters every weekend. I had like 7 fighters, and then they all become pro. Mm-hmm. So to train 7 fighters, professional fighters, to hold pads for them and have a job, man, I'm telling you, it's like somebody beat you up with a baseball bat. And I just did it, man. I did it. And I did that until I felt that, okay, look, I make enough money now with my business that I don't have to have that morning job. 10 hours, I just going to do 4 hours. Mm-hmm. So I would do like 4 hours, rest a bit so I can do. And then the business did good because I put my heart into it. And that's what it takes. There is no magical, people think that this is a magical formula and you need to go to some special business school and stuff, right? No, man, it's work hard and put your heart into it. Put your heart into it and love the people. Love everybody that comes through your door. Be thankful. Mm-hmm. Love them and accept them the way they are. We are all different. We all different. One guy is too crazy, exciting. The other guy is sleeping. The other guy is, and don't judge. Because we are so different. God, the universe, whoever you want, create us. Is so, we all different. That's the beauty of life. Imagine a planet with everybody the same. Like Hitler wanted to make this area like everybody the same, jacked up. And
it won't work.
No, you have to be a personality and all that. That's the beauty of life, right? And accept them and work with them. Don't be judgmental. Mm-hmm. They are the way they are because of their upbringing and how they got there. And that's what I do. So then I become successful. And the first small gym was not enough. And when I knew that I have enough, I had the second one where I started.
House of Champions.
The Iron Tiger Muay Thai. And it was, it was a bigger garage, mm-hmm. right? A bigger garage, I would say. And that's where I was on my. But I was still scared. I give away my apartment at the time, and I sleep at the gym for 2 years.
Wow!
I sleep there. Yeah, it was good enough, and I was there. I wake up in the morning when my fighter come, and we're ready to go. Mm-hmm. Don't have to drive. Don't have to do now. No, and that was it. So, it was great for me. Like I said, happiness does not come material. and I was happy, and I did what I did, and that's how the fighters grow with me.
Yeah.
I grow
well,
as a
it
coach.
shows, man. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, the proof is in the process, and
Yeah.
look at all the guys that came under you, or
Yeah, I remember all these days. The first day Josh Hill walked in. The first day Dave Hell walked in. The first day, Lyndon walked in. So I have stories for every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I write my book, I'm going to give my take on all of them.
no, I want to see this book now.
Yeah, yeah. On all of them, because like I said, we all different.
Mm-hmm.
And there is no crime. It's amazing, actually, right? And the upbringing of everybody has a direct fingerprint on their actions. And how they carry themselves and how they treat people that did everything for them and how they, so yeah, I'm still a student, like I said, and the book still has chapters to be written, right? The gym, the first Iron Tiger, the garage, the bigger garage in Stony Creek, about 2 minutes away from where I'm at now, had a crazy success, not as financial success, but man, those guys were killing people, winning fights. And that's what made me very happy. And then the res fights and then the Montreal trips weekly. I had the one weekend when we had Dennis fought on Friday and Josh and Adrian fought on Saturday in Montreal. There was the ringside show on Friday and the W1 show on Saturday. Then they had ex-MMA there when Will Romero fought with Mitch Gagnon. It was a crazy fight. And when Will won, then he was fought in ringside and knocked out Guillaume Lamarche. Then he got signed with Bellator. He was the first Canadian.
I remember that when they
Yeah.
announced it at the show on the reserve.
Yeah, Bellator called me a year prior. They were only in Spanish and they wanted Spanish fighters. So they called me a year prior, but he already signed with ex-MMA. Or yeah, some glitch was there and I couldn't, because I managed some of my guys too, Jamie, and I tell you why. Like I said, I am a student of this sport and this martial arts, and I read a lot about every fighter, and I read a lot about the old days of boxing and managers, right? And I want to protect my guys, man.
You always have.
Some of them don't understand, right? They don't understand. They say, oh, this immigrant is greedy. No, man, I'm protecting you from the sharks, man. The world out there, you're just another guy. You're just another guy. The guy has 100 fighters, man. Fight here, fight there. It doesn't care if you win, lose, whatever you do. You lose your brain, get knocked out. For him, you're a unit. Pay me. I put my heart in what I do, like I said. So that's why I care, right? When you're at the highest level in a UFC, you fight, man. You fight this guy, you don't say no. You fight. So why would you get somebody and with the lower level, if you get a manager that's never been through the journey, he's not the right guy to represent you. Because he's never been there. He doesn't understand what you're going through. He doesn't understand you sleeping on your friend's couch because you got no money.
You lose
for
the
rent.
fight, they don't give a shit about you the next day.
Yeah, you're gone.
Yeah.
Use history. Yeah, you history. You are for the hype train guys, right? They're there for you when you win. Oh man, I saw it so many times.
Yeah, I see it too.
Yeah.
As a promoter, I
Come
start dealing
on.
with guys and I'm like, wow, you're a fucking shark. You only care about these guys when they're winning. When they're losing, they don't give a shit about you.
Don't know him.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Listen, let's wrap this up. What time are we at now?
Hour 35.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Yeah? You got the gift of gab, my brother? That's amazing. So, Alin, before we go, who's the next big thing out of your gym?
Man, so many guys, so many kids. But I'm excited about one of them that's coming through, and I can't wait for this thing
What's his name?
the world to open up again.
What's his name?
This guy has been training with me for a while. He's not very young, but he's doing the right things now. And when he's gonna step into that cage, man, his name is Mostafa Al-Shamari. I put him on a show back in the day in the Middle East. It was like a Ultimate Fighter type show. And he did decent, but he was a kid still, right? And he won some fights there, and then he lost one fight. But man, the kid, it's coming through, and I'm excited about this dude.
That's
I'm excited about this dude, right? And thanks for having me.
No, thank you for coming on. Tell us where we can find you.
Find me?
How can someone track you down? If someone wanted to get into the gym?
House of Champions MMA.
House of Champions MMA.
House of Champions MMA.
Beautiful.
Google that, and thanks for having me.
No, thank you so much. Excuse me, sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, our special guest, Kru Alin.